the Queen of Extreme, Francine. Today I wanted to make a video about cooking. Everybody on Twitter keeps asking me about my meatballs and my gravy. And yes, it is called gravy. It is not called sauce because I'm putting meat in it. You guys can Google that. If there's meat in it, it is gravy. It's not sauce. Trust me. We're going to use pork, veal, and beef for our meatballs, okay? And this is going to be in two parts. I'm going to do the meatballs first, and then we're going to come back and we're going to do our gravy. So what you need to do is you need to take the meat out and just break it up in a bowl and incorporate all three together. Make sure you wash your hands and your hands are clean, of course. And you want to mix the meat up as much as you possibly can so every meatball gets a taste of the three meats. Or you could just dump it in and mix it like that. That would be great. Okay, so I'm just breaking it up and mixing all three together. Next, you're going to add some eggs, okay? I use 2 eggs for every pound of meat. So I have 2.5 pounds of meat here, so I'm going to use 5 eggs. Okay, so we have our meat incorporated together, and then I'm going to add my eggs. And this is going to make them really nice and tender and moist. And one more. Okay, so that's 5 eggs. Next, you're going to add some breadcrumb. I like to use seasoned breadcrumbs. This one actually has some Romano cheese in it. You don't need to use the cheese if you don't like the taste. You could just use regular breadcrumbs. You could use plain if you don't like Italian seasoning. I'm Italian, so I like seasoning. So you're gonna put a little bit to bind it, and then you're gonna add some dry herbs. I like to add some oregano. I also like to add some garlic salt. I add some chopped onion. Some parsley, and some basil. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to work this with my fingers, my hands, and I'm going to incorporate the egg and the breadcrumb and the seasoning, and then I'm going to go back and season it again because we got to get the bottom as well as the top. So don't be afraid to put your hands in there and mix up the meat. Okay. If you feel like the meat is a little too loose still, you could add more breadcrumb. You don't want to add too much because then it's going to be dry. You don't want your meat to be dry. Okay. Here we go. So everything seems to be incorporated, and then we're going to season again. Okay, I'm just going to rinse my hands. I do not want to touch anything with yucky, sticky hands. Okay? You're just going to season again, and you season to taste. It's a lot of meat, so I'm going to season it well. You could use more or less depending on your family's taste. And this is again parsley, oregano, garlic salt, chopped onion, and basil. And this isn't really coming out that well, so we're gonna do this. Woo. And some basil. And you're just gonna use your fingers and your hands and just do it again. Okay. everything is incorporated. So now it's time to fry up your meatballs. You want to use, I use canola oil. You can use whatever oil you like. I have a fryer here. It holds about 20 to 22 meatballs. And you're just going to pour the oil in. There's actually a line that tells you when to stop. And what I do is I actually cook them about halfway, because you're going to cook the rest in your gravy. And we're going to do that in part 2. But we're going to get this oil heated up, and in the meantime I'm going to roll out some meatballs. So what you do is you just take about a handful and give them a good roll. And you don't want to play with the meat too much. Play with your meat too much. Oh, that was funny. You don't want to play with them too much. You just want to put it in a nice ball shape. And then continue to do so like that. And put them on a tray until the oil's ready. And so in the meantime, I am going to roll out these meatballs and we'll be right back. See you in a minute. Okay, so we're back. I actually rolled out about 18 meatballs. Usually I can get 20 to 22. I think I made them a little bigger than usual, so I'm gonna let them fry just a little bit longer. But 18 is a pretty good amount for 2.5 pounds of meat. And I just decided I'm gonna call this segment Cooking with the Queen. I think that's cute. So anyway, we're gonna put the meatballs in the fryer. So gently, and you'll hear the sizzle, and that's when you know it's nice and hot and ready to go. And what I usually do is about 6 minutes on each side, because you do have to flip them, in case you weren't aware. They might lose their shape a little bit, but they'll be fine. They're still going to be delicious. You're going to love them. And I do not cover the meatballs. I just let them fry this way. Okay. Oil is very, very, very hot. Put you there. I'm gonna squeeze him in there. There we go. Okay, so like I said, it's about 6 minutes on each side. If they're larger, you can go a little longer than that. You always want to check if they start to burn. You'll see them get dark on the bottom. That's when you want to flip them. So we're going to wait about 6 minutes and we'll be right back. Okay guys, so it's been about 6-7 minutes since we've been frying up these meatballs, and they are starting to brown nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and flip them. Okay, and we're just gonna, because I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to cook them the whole way through. They're going to cook in the gravy once we start to prepare our gravy. So we're going to flip them over. And it smells so good in here. Doesn't it smell good in here?
Yes.
It does. Okay, they're looking good. I love meatballs. I love food. I'm a foodie. I'm sure everybody watching is too. Because why would you watch if you weren't? Alright. So all 18 meatballs are flipped. We're going to do the same thing that we did before. We're going to wait about 6-7 minutes, and then we will come back, and then we'll finish it off. Okay guys, so it's been another 6-7 minutes since they've been frying, and they look pretty good to me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove them from the hot oil, and I'm gonna put them just on a clean tray or a clean plate. Whatever you have in your house will do. Because again, we are going to finish cooking them in the gravy, which will be part 2 of cooking with the queen. Part 1 is the meatballs, part 2 is the gravy. And you're gonna love me forever because your family's gonna love this because it's delicious. I will put myself over and tell you right now that I make the best gravy in the world. Ha. And also, you want to keep some of this oil that you use to fry these meatballs up, because we are going to actually use this to saute our onion and garlic in our gravy. So don't throw your oil out just yet, guys. Keep it. You're going to need some. You're not going to need the whole thing, but you're going to need some of it for when we make our big pot of gravy. So you can actually take the heat off of that, okay? And that's it. That's basically how you make my famous meatballs. Delicious, easy, and fun. So, subscribe, like, comment, tell your friends, and come back for part 2 with Cooking with the Queen.